Welcome to another episode of the Sleep Q&A series that I publish on my YouTube channel every week, where I take a question from my community and I answer it so that you can get all your questions answered, obviously over a period of time. So today we are going to be focusing on sort of the morning dynamics, especially when you don't sleep at night and you might either have long-term insomnia or other long-term sleep problems. So this is the question I received recently, and I thought this is a little bit of a unusual one, but I wanted to answer because I do get this question in different shapes and sizes and forms actually quite frequently. So the question goes like this: how can I discipline or make myself wake up and exercise first thing in the morning? Now, this question might actually be slightly different for you. I have had a lot of questions over the years about how to make yourself get out of bed and get up in the morning to do something, whether that's exercise or whether that's something else. It comes up quite frequently. So in this episode, we're going to look at that scenario and how you can actually really get into a better routine to get going in the morning, no matter what that is that you want to do. Now, before we go into that, of course, as always, I'm going to go through the little bit of the introduction. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to this video. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, hit that little bell so I can notify you when I post new videos. If you're returning, again, welcome back. I really, really appreciate your support, coming back, watching the new videos, and even hitting that like button if you have liked what I said. Now, those of you who don't know what I do and who I am, I'm Beatrix Schmidt. I'm a sleep coach, a professional speaker, and the creator of the Sleep Skills for Life membership program, which is all about putting all the 12 years of research and my personal experiences overcoming insomnia into a structured, practical program. So we can take you through going from struggling with long-term insomnia or long-term sleep problems and actually developing great quality practical tools and techniques and skill sets so that you can enjoy great quality sleep consistently for many years to come. Hence the Sleep Skills for Life. We really want to make sure that you actually develop something that means that you can get through these perhaps challenges you might experience in the future as well, and make sure that your sleep stays really good quality. So now that's out of the way, let's go back to the question and let me tell you what I think about and what you can do about it. So one of the parts of this question is about exercising in the morning. But it can be other things that you might want to do in the morning and you want to feel either motivated to do it or you want to feel like that's the new lifestyle you want to live. So the first thing I always ask my clients as well when these questions come up is, what is the reason you want to do that? What is the reason you want to wake up in the morning, exercise, wake up in the morning, perhaps maybe do something else that you really want to do? Sometimes the answer is that, well, I just really want to utilize my day better, or I want to make the most of my day, or some similar answer. Now, if you're not motivated to wake up to do that thing, you've got to start with, how refreshed do you even feel when you wake up? Just like I mentioned demotivation earlier this week in a different video, demotivation comes from different places. And I'm not going to go through the same content. If you're interested, you go back to that video, you can watch that and look at those three different elements. So the reason you want to do something in the morning needs to align with what you want to have in your life continuously. Don't just wake up and do something because somebody else said so, and you don't actually want to live your life that way. And I've seen this before. People waking up earlier because somebody else told them that that's the way to be successful, or another person might have picked up a habit in the morning, let's say meditation, because they said that they read an article about it and That's the way to become more peaceful. But you've got to look at your 24 hours. You've got to honor what are the commitments and the things that you have in your life that will guide the amount of time you have to spend and allocate to certain things. So if you really truly want to live a life where you want to, let's say, exercise in the morning, of course, brilliant. Let's go make that happen, right? But it has to start with the why. If you're doing it, but you're not really wanting to do it that way, straight away there's going to be resistance, and it's less likely that you are fully committing to it. I go through the conversation with my clients about commitment. You've got to either do it or not do it. You've got to make that choice. If you just try and do it, that's less likely you're going to succeed, because you're not really fully committing and reshuffling your life around it. But let's say you really genuinely, naturally want to have that kind of life where you exercise in the morning. You don't have to look at readjusting what that 24 hours look like for you. Meaning, maybe that means that first of all, you've got to develop better sleep skills so you can fall asleep and you can sleep through the night, which means actually you're waking up more refreshed. The more refreshed, the more rested and recharged you are, the higher your motivation is going to be, and the more likely you're actually going to commit to exercising in the morning. So realigning your night as well as your day, meaning that also you've got to create a pocket of time in the morning so that you're not rushing around now that you're exercising. So it has to be a balanced 24 hours, right? So that's that time part of it, making sure that it fits in terms of time within your morning. The other one here is how you actually approach the exercise itself. Sometimes when people come to me with these kind of things, they say, well, I want to exercise every single morning. Now, if you're struggling with sleep problems and you're struggling with insomnia, don't continue pushing yourself, because you're going to end up burning yourself out. So instead, let's say you want to exercise and you want to start exercising in the morning. Great, no problem. We've now made sure that you committed, made sure that's the way you want to live. And now let's make it happen. Start with knowing how much energy you have right now. If you're already waking up tired, doing an exercise routine, a heavy exercise routine in the morning is not going to serve you. So it needs to be aligned to where you're at in life. And if you are struggling with sleep problems, you're probably not going to have enough energy to do a full-on exercise routine in the morning, because your body is just not having enough energy to even do that. And it can result in more tiredness later on in the day. So start with easing into this new routine, this new habit. It's a new habit you're putting in place. It takes time to put it in place. So maybe pick 3 out of 7 days. So 3 out of 7 days, you will spend, let's say, 20 minutes exercising in the morning. Rather than saying, I'm going to get up every morning and I'm going to exercise for an hour every single day, and you're still tired because you're not sleeping well, that's more likely to result in actual you not being able to put it in place, and then maybe you end up actually self-judging or self-punishing yourself for it. So that's not necessarily the best way to go. I always suggest easing into a new routine and a new habit is a better way to do it, because then you don't end up with that negativity if you can't actually do it perfectly all the time, just like you initially imagined. This takes time. I'd rather you start with 3 out of 7 days and make sure that your sleep improves as well. And then as you're having more energy, as you realign your life, then you increase the number of days. So maybe it can be 3 out of 7 days for the first 3-4 weeks, and then you increase it. Just like any training, even if you ask a professional athlete, you don't go from 0 to 100 within 5 days. You build up You got to take into account recovery. You got to make sure that you're aligning your habits, your routines, and that's the best way to actually really change that longer term lifestyle and make it stick. So it starts with these different steps. Just because you set an intention, it doesn't mean that either physically you have enough energy to do it, mentally you have enough determination to actually stick with it, and emotionally you can deal with perhaps that perfectionism mindset that you also have, making sure that you're not ending up self-punishing yourself and feeling worse about perhaps not actually completing what you set out to do. I'm always rooting for my clients to stick with their new habits, but being patient with it is part of that emotional journey. I exercise pretty much every single day, but depending on how I feel, if I feel that maybe perhaps I had a really busy day, then I will adjust that and I will do a little bit less because I know my body needs more recovery. So that patience piece is a really big part of that new habit and really putting that in place. And again, another misconception, a lot of the times people think that new habits are super easy to put in place and you can make it happen within a few days. Yes, some people can do that, but most of us need time to get accustomed to a new way of living, and that takes time. There is resistance that comes up that you have to deal with. There's going to be perhaps new things that arise because perhaps maybe something happens and you have to shift things around. That's the normality of life. The more you're able to actually create that success, perhaps starting with 3 out of 7 days, the more you're going to stick with it and the more that habit will develop more and more over the coming weeks. And when it comes to exercise, it's also important to do an exercise routine that you enjoy. If you don't like what you're doing, you're less likely to be motivated to actually do it. And again, I've seen this before. This is not about excuses, but this is about actually helping you to stick with something that you're picking. So make sure you actually enjoy what you're doing, either by perhaps listening to a different type of music or having that kind of additional experience within the exercise itself. So I hope this video has helped. I have seen this over the years when people have not picked a new habit with that physical, emotional, mental approach, and then it ended up actually setting them back a lot more because how they've set that intention wasn't really going to help them to make it happen. So start with that patience piece, start with making sure that it actually is something you want to do a long period of time rather than just for a few weeks and then you give it up. So I hope this video helped. This is my answer to that particular question. Like I said, there's many different versions of this, but it really builds up on that sort of demotivation idea that we talked about earlier this week. Of course you can change your habits, it's not a problem, but make sure you plan for them rather than just give it a go and then end up perhaps not actually doing it. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button below. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. I post videos frequently on my YouTube channel on different topics linking to sleep problems and insomnia as well. But as you can see, sort of energy levels during the day link into that topic too. So we cover a lot of different things throughout those different videos that I record. So thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next video.